we'll talk about the Nations Cup. The final of the Nations Cup will take place today in Equatorial Guinea. At some point in time, it looked unlikely because, Morocco backed out expressing some concerns. Equatorial Guinea stepped up, offered to host, and yes, it's been a very interesting tournament so far. Guys, the final today, Ivory Coast, Ghana. We had the only issue we had, apart from the referee that concerned Equatorial Guinea against Tunisia, that saw the referee eventually got getting banned for about 6 months. We also saw the crowd violence in Equatorial Guinea. But whether we like it or not, whether anybody likes it or not, the final will take place today. A lot of effort has been put in. Outside the field, I'm going to allow you to tell us, outside the field, while Nod is going to analyze the game we expect us to see today, are you satisfied with the level of organization in Equatorial Guinea?
Very satisfied. Very, very satisfied, considering the fact that it was impromptu. They didn't plan to host this tournament. It was essentially Morocco who was supposed to host this. Morocco was supposed to host this tournament. Yeah. They reneged based on Ebola, and then we had to start looking for hosts. And CAF didn't want to postpone it. The January date was sacrosanct. They're not used to postponement. So as it stands, Equatorial Guinea came onto that, and they've done very well. There were skirmishes here and there. There was crowd violence here and there, which is actually understandable.
We only had one incident, one case.
Well, just one case. Very, very, very true. Particularly, concerning the host team. I must say, maybe they became unnecessarily expectant that our team will go on to win the tournament. Yeah. I mean, haven't got all the way to the semi-final. All of a sudden, imagine a team that didn't qualify at all. Yeah. You got in through the back door. You found yourself in the semi-final and you're expecting to get to the final. I mean, who thinks that if not Equatorial Guinea?
They're allowed to dream, Larry.
But when another team is defeating you 3-0 on your own home turf, what do? You fold your hands and enjoy the game. Cameroon came here in 2000. Victor Ikpeba kept his 2 hands on his head after that penalty that went in. If not that we didn't have goal line technology, but we didn't. Evans didn't fall. They lifted the trophy here. So what is the big deal? Yeah.
All right, but with level of organization, it hasn't been that entirely. It hasn't been bad. Eventually, third place was played yesterday between Equatorial Guinea and DRC. It ended penalty shootout. DRC won the day after playing 90 minutes regulation time goalless. I eventually went ahead to leave the third place trophy. Heralding today is the final. Like I said earlier on, Ivory Coast, Ghana, the biggest boys. It's been a while we actually had 2 big boys play the semi-final. Yes, remember '94 we had Zambia and
Nigeria.
And the Super Eagles. We also had in 2002 thereabout, where we also had the big boys. But it's been a while. We actually saw formidable opposition taking on themselves. Talking about Ivory Coast and Ghana, 2 world boys, 2 world-class teams, countries taking on themselves.
Well, I think when you mentioned '94, in 2006 it was Egypt and Cote d'Ivoire. Mm-hmm. So you could say there's another big boys arrangement. In 2010 it was Ghana and Egypt. In 2009 it was Egypt and Cameroon. But then you are looking at a situation where it's all West African affair. Yeah. Last time it was all West African affair. In 2012 it was all Southern African and West Africa. Yeah. In 2010 it was a West Africa and North Africa. So if you look at the last Nations Cup, it means that West Africa seems to be the dominant teams at the Nations Cup, and we are beginning to see that reflect in the kind of result we're getting at this tournament. The last 4. You could say, okay, 2 West Africa in the final. We've seen that. So this is going to be an epic final. It's going to be a final of histories, records to be made. We are seeing a coach handle the team in Africa for the very first time, get to the final, even though he has passed his target. So it's looking like
talking about Avant-Grant.
Avant-Grant, looking like what Keshi had in 2013, passed his target, is in the final. The coach of Ivory Coast led Ghana, led Zambia against the same Ivory Coast team in 2012. So the final they won. He went to France, came back, now he's handling the same team, and he's in the final again. So he's going to be doing that with 2 different teams if he eventually wins. So it's a game of two different kind of proposition. Eyatouye, who is in the generation that played in the World Cup but never won the Nations Cup, and against the generation of the '92 squad who never qualified for the World Cup but won the Nations Cup. I think this will be the icing on the cake for Eyatouye if he eventually wins the Nations Cup.
Should he win this Nations Cup?
I don't think the CAF award will go elsewhere. They should just give him this year's award. After the Nations Cup.
Very funny. But quickly, it's very interesting to point out that with the way Nodi has analyzed this, you're sending down fear, down the spines of the Ghanaians. But it's not going to be entirely easy for the Ivorians. I must say this because let's look at the statistics, how they qualified for the final. They participated in Group D, talking about Ivory Coast. A very lackluster performance, I must say. They actually qualified with 5 points during 2 of the games and winning the last one against Cameroon by a lone goal, meaning they had 5 points at the end of the tournament. Against a Group C opponent, talking about the Ghanaians, that qualified with 6 points. They lost their first game, however, but went on to win the second game. With the way they've been playing, talking about the Ghanaians, they've grown in leaps and bounds, talking about every game they played. Ivorian side, it probably will be the lost generation that is working for them right now.
They have also grown the way they actually played. 1-1 in their first game against Guinea and Mali. You could say Francophone countries, they didn't they understand themselves so well. But immediately they got up against Cameroon, they actually needed that victory and then they won. But after that, you expected that as soon as they got into the knockout stage, particularly against Algeria, who many had considered as a pre-tournament favorites, they dispatched them 3-1. And then in the last game against DR Congo, they also scored 3 goals as well. I mean, so it suggests that they are on an upward projection. The same thing for Ghana as well. They started badly. The first game they lost against Senegal, but then they went ahead, defeated Algeria, and then defeated South Africa, coming from a goal down. But immediately after that, they defeated Guinea 3-0, and then the last game, Equatorial Guinea. So this is one of the first teams that will defeat the 2 Guineas, Guinea and then Equatorial Guinea. 3-0, 3-0. So Ghana has scored 10 goals en route to the final, and Ivory Coast has scored 9 en route to the final. Ivory Coast has considered 4, Ghana has considered 3. So there's really nothing to choose between these teams. This is one of the most balanced finals that you've seen in recent time. In 2 years ago, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, everybody thought it was Nigeria. 3-4 years ago, it was Cote d'Ivoire, Zambia. Everybody thought it was going to be Cote d'Ivoire. This is one of the that you can't put your money anywhere. It's hard.
That's right.
It is.
But we're going to see goals.
Not likely.
I doubt.
You doubt.
I
So,
doubt.
and I'm not going to put it on the spot, but if I'm going to be
Penalties.
you think it's going to swing?
No, it's not going to end the penalty. It's going to regulation time.
And you think it's going to favor?
I think penalties.
You think we'll go to the orange side of Africa?
And that is the Ivorians. That's what it means. And for you,
I think penalties. And at that stage, anybody can pick anybody.
all right, but one thing is for sure, we're in for a good time when it comes to the final of the Nations Cup that will take place between Ivory Coast and Ghana. And I can assure you, we expect fireworks. We don't know if these guys are going to be conservative and try to cancel themselves out, but we expect to enjoy 90 minutes of good football. Having said that, let's leave the shores of Africa and go straight to the EPL. I'm talking about games that were played yesterday in the English Premier League. So many games were played in the English Premier League. Chelsea consolidating the top spot, extending the run, the points by 7 points ahead of Manchester City. We're going to take you through the scorelines of the games that were played. Larry Pena is going to be analyzing the game with us. For us, Tottenham Hotspur losing, defeating Arsenal 2-1. It was a difficult game for Arsenal. I mean, they scored first. Ozil getting the first goal, and Harry Kane, that man Harry Kane, got 2 goals for Tottenham Hotspur, and it was like Arsenal struggled against Tottenham in the second half of that game.
Arsenal didn't come to the party yesterday, particularly after they scored the first goal. Tottenham was quick to the ball, won the 50-50s. Tottenham needed that game more than Arsenal, and you could see it in the play, all-round play of all the players. Eriksen was fantastic. Danny Rose was brilliant. You can't even talk about Harry Kane himself, named Hurricane now. He destroyed Arsenal, so to speak. Arsenal didn't come to the party. 1 or 2 players, well, Becker and Coughlin maybe, but the rest, they didn't play well. For Crystal Palace, an away win. Now Alan Pardew is gradually climbing up the table and nobody's noticing. Went to Leicester, got a very, very important result. And then Southampton, of course, cementing their place in the top 3.
And that makes it very interesting, Noddy. I mean, if you look at the fight for top 4 now, Arsenal said top 4 was their bet, right? But it's looking very unlikely right now. We have the Southampton that actually went to QPR and defeated the side that had resigned a few days ago. They won 1-0. There was a goal scored by QPR in the time, and it was eventually cancelled for whatever reasons. But this is what the top 4 and the bottom 4 looks like. Chelsea on top, Manchester City second, Southampton third, Manchester United fourth. And you don't see Arsenal. Then you wonder, yes, okay, they have about 40 more games to go.
Well, I think we're gradually not getting to the end of the season because a couple of 4 or 5 games you could see the position change, but the top 2 will not change. The top 2 is likely to change because I don't know whether City will sustain this momentum, but for Southampton, they punch above their weight. They are satisfied with a particular position. Okay. But getting third is going to be a huge achievement for them because the way they imploded towards them the end of last year and they came back, I think it's a team that has shown some character under kind of character, under distress. Because no team will do that. You lost 2, 3, 4 games on the bounce, and you're able to bounce back. And you're right. If they had won those games, I think they'll be contending for the title. But for Arsenal, they need to remain consistent. They need to beat some of those key games, like the derby game, which seems to be the big obstacle for them. So they need to win those games. But the season has not ended, because the fight for the third and fourth places is still very open.
And we have Manchester United that I think look good, actually finished top 3 this season. I mean, consider the way they finished last season. All right, bottom 4, we have Hull City, Burnley, QPR, and Leicester City. Some people might argue that the bottom 3 probably will remain this way till the end of the season. Having said that, let's round off now with the Spanish La Liga. We saw a game yesterday that many people wouldn't have come out to predict. It was Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, and we're going to quickly run through that. Cristiano Ronaldo played that game. He was coming back after the red card, and yes, the game did not swing the way of Real Madrid.
Typical Diego Simeone team scored early, and they took the game to Real Madrid, scored 4 goals. Real Madrid couldn't come back into that one. But that's a disastrous game from Real Madrid's perspective. I expect them to bounce back. Barcelona will go in today and will close the gap to 3 points, I expect, if they win their own game today.
That's it. Guys, I'd like to say thank you, Nodi. Thank you for being a part of the segment. I'd like to thank you, too, for being a part of the segment. We'll go on a break. When we come back, Ken Ochonago will be back in the studio to take you through the rest of the program. Join us again.